Yeah, you were a real estate agent. You were new in the game, and you went from basically being new to selling a couple $1 million. And that's around the time when I met you that you invested heavily into marketing. You hired me to work with you, and we did some stuff. But I think your story is definitely really cool, and I think a lot of people have stuff to learn about because you're definitely creative, and even with the stuff that you're doing now, um, you're definitely doing things differently, which is what I admire about you most more than anything. So um, I don't know. We could start the conversation by basically talking about that. Like how, like where do you get your creativity? Like how come you're always trying like new stuff, doing funny things, and creating content? Where do you think you get that creativity?
I'm just naturally a right brain thinker. So I tell people like I see things in color a lot more than analytical. Don't get it wrong. I have an analytical side too, but it's not it's not as like formulated as it should be for someone that thinks chronological with stuff. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just always been curious as a kid. Yeah.
Right. And all right, tell us about your like how did you hear about real estate? How did you got into it? And how the hell did you go like how did you get on such a fast pace? Because you had an amazing first year in real estate, right?
Yeah, yeah. Right now I'm like probably right. I've been in real estate for about 2 years. I'm 8.5 million sold. I think it's just instant implementation, man. I was like a seed planted in the perfect soil with the water and the sunlight and stuff like that because I could have easily been in a different environment and not have done anything. Like it was just a matter of making opportunity out of everything given to me and just telling myself that this is what I'm going to focus on because in life I switched from a lot of different things and so I was like, all right, I got to be successful in something and I made it real estate and you know I may make a switch in the coming years because I there's other things like I love comedy and music and stuff but I don't know I I feel like I derailed from your question but I don't know if you got it.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. We don't have to say like we don't have to be scripted or anything like that. It's an
Of
open
course.
book. So, all right, how did you get your first client?
Oh, I got my first client through this lead generation app called Opsity, which is like what my office offered to us. And so I got them, and then I just really like kept pimping out that lead system because it was free. Like it was free, and you pay on the back end when you close. So I'm like, this is the perfect situation that anyone could ever ask for. And then after that, um, I signed up for Zillow Premier and that was super expensive. But I got a couple closings off of that, and then that's when me and you started to work. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you told me you were paying like 7 grand, right? For
yeah,
Zillow.
yeah, it was that astronomical. It was crazy, bro. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
So, all right, how did one client lead to the other, lead to the other? Like how would you describe that process?
one client leading to the other. You know what? I started this referral program where if they sent like a family member over to me or something like that, I give them like a $200 Visa gift card. So I got some people off of that. Um, just being somewhat memorable. I had like blonde dreads at one point in time, so it's like it wasn't too many people that looked like me. More so recently, I just wrapped my Tesla, so now I'm like a driving billboard. But I just try to stay front center in mind. And, yeah,
Have you gotten any calls from the rapping?
it hadn't even been 24 hours yet. I literally got it yesterday.
Ah, you got it
Yeah,
yesterday. Okay, I'm actually let me know about that because I was thinking about doing the same.
look at my Go to my Instagram. You see the video like when I like how
Yeah,
I
I
mapped
saw it. I
over.
saw it. Yeah. Yeah, that's that. But you see, that's kind of like what I admire about you and what I think you're so different from a lot of other agents is that you try on things like in an unconventional way. Even the videos, the way you make, like, first of all, okay, like you invest into a lot of the, like, into videography, which is something I believe in deeply. Um, so I guess tell us, like, how did you decide, like, I'm gonna create content, I am going to invest into videography? Like, how did that happen? Because your videos are definitely not normal. Like, you definitely, like, put thought and you put energy into your videos, right? So how did that happen?
I mean, honestly, we're in that day and age. I feel like if you're not doing video, you're kind of behind the times, right? It's just our social way of being humans now. Now, but the way I go about doing video is just who I am. Like, it's not a facade or anything like that. Like, you know me personally. That's pretty much how I am in real life.
Yeah.
Kind of unorthodox.
But how did
But
it come about? Like, when, I guess, was for whoever doesn't know, you had the rap video that you really promoted a lot.
oh, yeah,
Was that like was that like the switcher for
that's
you
because I've
already?
always
Mm-hmm. Keep going, go
I was
ahead.
already like that. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay, glitched. But I was already like that. Like I always been into music and doing creative stuff. And the crazy part about it is no one sees like like a fourth of the stuff that I think about. Like I think about a lot of different things and I map out a lot of things, but y'all only see a fraction of it. It's only the cusp, man. Like, but I really like to push the needle to infuse because if I don't put me in it, I'm losing myself, not happy, and I'm like, why am I doing this? So me putting those elements of the creativity, like the rap video, me doing my other comedic skits, it's to show people who I am. And if you don't like that, right, then I don't really want you to be a client anyways. If you do like that, then we're probably going to mesh so well that it was like a match made in heaven.
Right, right. So I think that drives us into the comedy. So, all right, tell us about the comedy thing. How did you get into comedy? How are you using it? How has it changed? And I want to talk about it because there's things that we can do as a hobby that can manifest itself into our work and make us different. Because I really do like what you said. Like, if you don't put you in it, then it's just not, you're just not happy. And I think a lot of us just wake up, go to work, even if we're self-employed or if we're our own boss, like we just wake up, go to work, and it's just more of the same and more of the same, you know what? So I think just putting your spark, putting your own unique touch, making whatever you do as work enjoyable. I think that's what, at least I don't get bored of what I do because every day for me is different. But I do it the way I want to do it. Sometimes, you have to do stuff that you're not okay with or that you don't like as much as some of the other stuff. But for the most part, like I put me into whatever I do and I enjoy what I do. So how did you get into comedy? How has it changed you? How are you using that in your career?
Um, Man, so comedy is kind of like the hardest thing that someone could ever do, and it never gets seen in that light because whenever you do comedy, you're trying to evoke a specific emotion out of somebody versus if I just do a talk and I know I might inspire this person, I might um I might make this person feel some type of way, or this person feel, but like with comedy, it's a specific emotion, and I like the challenge. And I've always kind of been acclimated to comedy because I would just sit for hours and watch my favorite stand-up people do it, and I'm like, all right, how do I fuse that with what I'm currently doing for a living? And I started like doing the skits, and right now, one of my biggest influencers, not influencers, but inspirations is Drewski. I don't know if you know who Drewski is, but this guy does like the most hilarious, iconic skits ever. And it's like he's just unbarred, no holds. And I'm like, how can I put this in my creation? So that's kind of how it came about and what it does for me.
Okay, and you went to the school and you graduated, right?
Yeah, I went to the improv school. Anyone that knows anything about comedy, Improv is like the cornerstone of every stand-up comic. Every big person has been through there, from Adam Sandler down to Chris Rock to Eddie Murphy to like, you name them, Kevin Hart, like they all
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah, honestly, like I can't picture myself like doing comedy. That must be like, how do you think about what to say?
That's the challenging part sometimes, until you get like really like until you really master it. But just talk about the real things that happen in your life. I noticed that you get the most laughs when you're authentic. Like people can tell when you're just trying to memorize something you wrote down, or whether it's like an exaggerated truth or not. But when you can talk that real, and you can be the voice of the people that feel like they can't say something. For an extreme example, Dave Chappelle. People really love Dave Chappelle, not because he's the funniest person on earth. Yes, he's funny, but because he says shock comedy. It's the stuff that you're scared to say, but you kind of feel it or you think about it. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And there's something about just, I don't know, I think people just also like just admire you for saying stuff that honestly they wouldn't say on stage.
Yeah.
I can't picture myself being on a stage. I guess, okay, do you when public speaking, do you ever get like nervous?
Yeah. Beforehand, most definitely, because you never know what's going to happen. At the same time, I haven't been doing it that long, but it's something that comes natural at the same time. But once I get on the stage, it's kind of like a different scenario. I feel at home. I feel like I'm in that I'm most comfortable when I'm uncomfortable, right? Because I know that there's growth in that versus running from it. I feel way more uncomfortable sitting back knowing that I avoided a challenge.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the entrepreneur mindset. It's just like it's uncomfortable, we hate it, but at the same time we love it. It's like I was just
Yeah.
like on the way here, I was like, damn, I'm kind of done with this being rushed for time, always trying to like just make it right in there, bunch of stress, a bunch of stuff happening at the same time. And then I was like, yeah, I probably wouldn't want to have it any other way. Like I would probably just be bored if it wasn't like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
I agree.
So, what do you think is gonna be? What do you think is gonna be next for you in the next couple of years?
What's
What
going
do
to
you
be
see
next
yourself
for
doing? Yeah.
me? I could tell you what I would want, but all right, I'll tell you what I want. I'll tell you what I want.
Hmm.
I want 20 acres, and I'm actually actively working on it right now, but 20 acres in North Carolina. Um, and I'm gonna build assisted living facilities on it and be funded by the government, right? I plan on that to scale really big. Also, another commercial venture that I would like to do is a storage facility unit, right? And then I'm also in the process of building this credit repair company on the side too, and I want to just truly make that a. People say passive income, but I don't really think that exists too much. I more say deferred payment, because you still got to do work at some point in time, whether it's setting up your systems or whatever it may be. So I want to do that also. But real estate is kind of like my segue into it. But after I get those things in motion, hitting stages and doing comedy, man, making my occasional song. I got like 3 mixtapes that no one ever heard yet, because I just love music. So I just want to live life to the maximum, travel the world, et cetera, et cetera. Get a girlfriend. Yeah.
Wait, then you have a girlfriend already? Oh boy.
Nah, man. I'm single, man. I'm single.
Single and ready to mingle.
Sure.
Your girlfriend.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
try, but it's just, yeah, it doesn't be equally yoked, man. That's weird.
I would say like the okay, I don't have much advice on anything. I still got a whole life, hopefully. I still have a whole life of learning ahead of me. But the one
Mm,
relationship advice that I could give is don't rush into anything,
that's
especially
fact.
like dating. because it can backfire and it can be costly. And like honestly, right now, I'm in a great relationship and I'm happy, but it took us like almost like 1.5 years to 2 years to get to the point where we were like, you know what, maybe we should be a little bit more serious, and then a whole nother year to the next step, which is where we're at right now. So we just took it really slow. By the time we made any commitments, we both knew each other really, really well. We kind of knew our kinks. We knew, okay, this is what I don't like, but I can live with it. This is what I have that you don't like, and you can live with it. We've proved that we can maybe live together. Um, oh boy. So now back to real estate. What are your thoughts on the market today? What do you see happening on the market?
Um, I feel like I think we're going through a correction right now. A lot of people are scared we're a recession, but it's really not a recession, man. Like, yeah, the market is doing crazy things, but I can't speak for all the other 49 states, but in Florida, we're one of the most popular states, man. And yeah, you're gonna see we're just like on a downtrend of the overall uptrend, right? It's not a bubble, man. I don't know how to really put it because different people would say different things according to how they're looking at it, right? Like if you're a seller, you're like, yo, this time sucks because my value isn't holding true. People aren't lining up to buy like it was, 9 months ago. If you're a buyer, you're probably saying, wow, like I can just, it's only me and maybe one other person competing for this property, and I could bid under and ask for concessions. Investors can just all out just lowball completely. It all depends on what coin that you're on, but it's not that bad, man.
I don't think, at least like we just bought a house recently, right? I told you, and I didn't get the feeling that it was definitely not as crazy as like in the pandemic when there was like 15 offers day one on a property. But I didn't feel like it was like prices are necessarily going down or that you could get a whole lot of concessions out there. Like I do see houses sitting on the market for a way longer time, but I don't see like, oh my God, it's a great opportunity to get in right now. It's definitely better, but I don't see. What do you think about that? Is that what you see out there, or um,
Yeah, so like I said, like it all depends on what area that you're trying to buy in. What are you trying, like if it's an Airbnb investment down to residential or commercial? Like it really varies per person. It's not really a one way answer, but like new construction, they're cutting so many deals, it's ridiculous. They're paying for someone's complete call. They're dropping the prices from what it was. Then you got sellers that are still wanting to list $20,000 over and expect someone to pay for it and hold out until someone comes for that price. It's everyone is kind of discombobulated right now in their own way because it's, I guess the way to look at it, it's not as clear as it was 9 months to a year ago, where everyone unanimously knew it was a hot market. It's just a market right now, and I think it's where they fit in, if that makes sense. But I always say this: you shouldn't operate out of fear in this game because you're really not going to get nothing that you want like that. So.
yeah, I don't think in any business you can't just stop because of fear. Like sometimes you just gotta go for it.
But
Absolutely.
you'll be surprised how many like, people buy purely out of emotion unless you're an investor, and even a lot of investors buy out of emotion too, and they call themselves investors. What I'm saying? Like, seriously, like,
I have a good feeling about this deal. It's speaking to me.
yeah, don't got no real
Just something my
numbers. Like,
gut feeling says go for it. Yeah. Um, That's some good stuff, man. That's some good stuff. What do you see? What do you see yourself doing in real estate, like as your career? Like, are you gonna stick with buyers, sellers? Do you see yourself like promoting more? You see yourself doing more content? Like, what's different? What's new? Like, what's coming in real estate for you?
I just really being able to build out my systems to where I'm able to handle the influx of people, because I really have like a pretty nice Rolodex. However, I know I let a lot of things fall through the cracks with systems, and that's probably the biggest thing I got to work on. If I could, I would love to, like, I would love to close. If I could close like between 40 to 50 transactions, which could easily correlate to, you know, 30 plus million, like that would honestly be like my goal. And I have that. However, I don't I it's like building out those that that infrastructure to uphold it, because what you could call somebody a week too late,
Yeah,
right? Like, you literally call them a week later and they're like, oh man, like I went with Suzanne. She reached out to me about this house and my lease expired. I had to get something. I couldn't find your number. And now I just lost out on a listing because me not having a VA, or having someone making these calls and touch points to where like, oh yeah, let me call Lingo. It's kind of like anything else. I don't even. I used to take it personal, and sometimes I still take it personal, but I try to stop doing it. There's times where I've thought to work with somebody, but I couldn't find their business card, or I somebody else had a better deal at the moment. And I haven't talked to them in so long, and that person was freshest on my mind, and they lost a potential sale. And they may never know. They might find out,
yeah.
but
Yeah, and coming from the other side as like a consumer, I can tell you that where a lot of people in this business fall is in that follow up. Like for example, we had a lender that the lender that we use, right? So it was through a family friend and all that. Like it would almost be bad if we went with someone else.
yeah,
But I mean, it was my girlfriend's relation, not mine. But like the first 3 days, she was shopping for a lender. She was under contract, and we couldn't hear back from the guy. We only heard back from the guy when the realtor, who she was actually doing a good job, reached out to him and be like, "Hey, listen, you got a client that you haven't reached out to," and that's when he got involved. Because I guess he would prioritize people that were already like very, very serious. Um, or I don't know why, but I can tell you, like, we only consider working with some other folks because that guy, we had that experience, right? So definitely calling. Also, I had a client one time. We were running Facebook ads and we were generating leads for wholesaling. And with wholesaling, you got to move fast. They literally called the client. I think I can't remember if it was like the next day or just a couple hours after the lead came in on Facebook. And the lady was like, "Oh yeah, we already went with someone else." And I'm telling you, it was within like hours. It was within less than 24 hours.
damn.
And yeah, it was crazy. She was actively shopping. Saw a couple ads for that stuff. Maybe did a Google search, made a call. Whoever was the first one to buy, that's who she went with. Because like once you make that rapport with someone, it's kind of hard to tell them no. It's kind of hard to move on. Which is like, I went to a new barber today, and he was all right, but if I go back to the same barber shop, am I
That's why
gonna go with someone else?
I noticed the tailor slanted.
Huh?
So I thought I noticed something different in the cut. I was like, oh snap.
Well, he did do my eyebrows a little bit thinner than I normally do them.
Yeah.
So I think it was all
But you
right. But if I go back to the barber shop, like honestly, I probably wouldn't tell the guy no, because like you already have the rapport, you already talked. It's like whatever. So it's just a
mhm.
matter of being the first one or having the best rapport with potential clients. So when it comes to that systems, I definitely agree, man. Like we were talking about it the other day. at least like how systems have changed my life, right? Since I launched the subscription, if it weren't because of systems, I wouldn't be able to have 200 like active members. And like, I don't know most of the people, right? And somehow they are there. And we put on the events and people show up, and it just kind of works with the systems that I've built. And they're not perfect, they need to be improved tremendously, but they're there. So I
Mhm.
think it's really, really important. I didn't know the importance of it until I actually saw it in action.
What is this?
What is what?
Oh, you're checking in or?
Oh, can I just go through?
No. What's the last name again?
Smith.
No, I thought you're like
I
you're
thought
like
you
a
looked.
vendor here.
Oh yeah. Well,
It's a
Smith?
good.
Checking in, right?
so what?
You're checking in?
Yes. Well, no, I'm not checking in. I'm actually with the Davos team. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
you're in the
really.
wrong place.
Yeah, correct.
You're in the wrong place.
Oh, man.
There's a party came through already here.
Yeah.
It's not here. So you might want to call them.
Okay.
It's a realtor thing, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's not here. You might want to call them.
All right, bet. Thanks. Solid. All right. My bad about that, man.
That's all good. Yeah, let's see if anybody has any questions, or do you have any more thoughts on that systems or anything else? Because I think you also had to go at like 12:30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
That's all.
answer any questions.
Yeah. Yeah. If anybody has any questions, we can take them now. You can just speak up if you have a question. So actually, I do have a question. Was the Tesla driving itself?
It was for the most part. It was.
So what are your thoughts on the autonomous? Like you're not scared of it?
Nah, I'm not. It's pretty cool. I enjoy it. It's that's 98% accurate.
98% accurate? That's
Yeah.
probably more than an average human.
Yeah,
Have you seen
like
it do any fuck ups?
oh yeah, I run red lights all the time.
What do you mean, bro? What do you mean you run a red light? It doesn't stop?
No.
Damn, but okay, that's dangerous.
Stop signs.
Damn. But do you just like you just do something else and you just let it go?
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like I was eating Chipotle yesterday while I was driving.
Lord.
It's pretty cool, and it's like I put the rainbow road on it too, so it's like you can just see, like it's like a cool little rainbow animation thing. But yeah, I like it. It's
It's good, it's cool. That's dope. Alrighty. Well, I don't think anybody has any questions.
I do have a
So,
question. I'm sorry.
oh, go, shoot.
Any advice for newer agents on how to start their business, where to go, what to do, anything that you did at the very beginning that really catapulted your career?
yeah. I sold 1.5 million my first month, and it was because of instant implementation and realizing that it's not about just selling homes, but more so about generating leads and then connecting, cultivating, and then closing those leads. So once you figure out your first problem or challenge, I don't really like the word problem, is figuring out how to generate leads. Then after you generate the leads, then you have another challenge, which is going to be cultivating and then converting those leads or closing them more so. Um, so yeah, that's it in a nutshell. That's my best advice. And try everything, and then out of everything you try, say to yourself, what can you realistically do consistently, and then pick like 2 or 3 of those strategies and just keep doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Did that help?
Yes.
Perfect. Someone, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I think I was just covering the mic. Um, I think generating leads is definitely one of the most important things to solve in the equation. I think leads and sales. I've always been good at generating leads, but I was never able to solve the sales part. But in a business like real estate, the sale part shouldn't be that as hard as like when you're trying to sell a, when it's something that people have to pay out of pocket and they're not necessarily super shopping for it. Like when someone decides to buy a house, they're gonna buy the house. It doesn't matter who they're gonna go with, but they need a realtor and they're committed to buying the house. So if you can generate the lead, I think the sale part is challenging, but not as challenging. Where I think a lot of real estate agents, not I wouldn't say fail, but don't do as great is in being able to generate enough volume of leads. So I think that's definitely the first place to start. And if you do have the leads, then you have to look at the sales part. Okay, I'm getting, I don't know, 10 calls a week. How many deals do I have on the table? I have none. Well, maybe the problem is me. Maybe I'm not calling people. Maybe I'm not being tough enough. Maybe I'm driving around like a maniac and no one's deciding on an actual house. So you might have to implement some new stuff and being a little bit tougher. Like, hey, listen, like we've been looking at houses for 3 days, 4 days. Like I think it's time, if not, I'm gonna have to move on. And the same is true with ads. Like the way I have an ad campaign right now that's giving me troubles. And the ad itself is bringing clicks, but then I'm taking people to a landing page and I'm not getting anywhere near the result that I want. So now I know that my problem is on the landing page. So I have to figure out what to do with the landing page because the other part is generating the result that I want. So then what follows after is where the problem is. So good question. Thank you, Tiffany. Does anybody else have any other questions? If not, we can wrap up. We're getting ready to have the event tonight and have another meeting coming up too. Awesome, man. What do you think about the first episode? Let's finish with that.
No, I think it's good, man. Like everyone has to start somewhere, and I think this is a good start. It's just the fact of you taking it out your mind and then just doing it for real. So I think it's good.
Yeah,
and then
I'm also like, now go shoot.
Now I was gonna say like, yeah, I think like the next step is like getting like a nice little podcast room and then like just having like the maybe some neon lights set up, the mic arms that hang over the desk, you could talk or however you said, whatever vibe that you can see.
Yeah, that's true. I'm also just a big believer in just start. Just start, get it going, and then learn as you go. You want to be sure about things before you get into them, but then you just have to do them sometimes. Like some things are just hard to predict. Like it's hard to predict, that hey, the computer wasn't going to be working. You're going to have to be on your phone. So now that's a thing that you learn. Like, okay, I have to set it up an hour before, and maybe have a backup one or something. So those are just things that you just have to learn as you get going. But you can't be afraid to try. So definitely a lot to improve on. At least we get the job done one way or another. And yeah, man, thank you so much for being here today. And we'll probably see you around. See you soon. And best of luck with everything.
Yes, sir, man. Blessings, man. Blessings.
Thank
All right.
you.
All righty. All right. Bye bye, everyone.